This is the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey. We answer all your questions on our mailbag, plus any and all super thanks that have come in the past week, or give or take how long it's been since our last live show. And there are several super thanks to get to, beginning from G Sound. Thanks all you do. Appreciate you. All the best to you and the family. Thank you, my friend, and thank you for your super thanks as well. Several of them time to get into. From Matt Batten, says, signed DJ Chark. He's fast and good. Agreed on Glazer, 7%. I'm on Lamb. This was from a previous video where my boy Harrison Graham spoke to Jay Glazer. 0%. We're getting Pitts or Diggs too. Love you. The show the best. You're a great host. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. He's not done. No Odell Beckham. Sign a guard. Get Marcus Peters. If he doesn't retire, draft a cornerback in the draft. Love the show. You're the best with the good work. If I'm signing Peters, I'm probably not going to draft one, at least early on at cornerback. I wouldn't mind spending on a good guard in free agency, though, to really stabilize that position. Matt Batten says, yes, put Jimmy Johnson in the Cowboys Ring of Honor. Keep Zeke, but he must take a pay cut to pay Pollard. Only way I'm keeping Zeke is if he does take that pay cut. As for Jimmy Johnson, yes, I am begging you once again, Jerry, put him in the damn Ring of Honor. If you don't know what Super Thanks is, allow us to explain here. YouTube has Super Thanks. It's a new feature-ish, well, been here for a while at this point, allows you to donate outside of live videos. Click the thanks icon, because we appreciate your support here. Every Super Thanks, we will give you a shout-out here on the Cowboys Report. From Tyler Parrott, cry, Eagles cry, real classy move, booing Dak after winning a philanthropic award. Would we expect anything else from Eagles fans? The answer is no, and maybe does set a bit of a low bar from that standpoint, but it's the Eagles. It's okay. It's who they are. That's their God-given right, and we control them if they lose. From Jay Smooth, what do you think of the Cowboys trading for Brandin Cooks? I am very intrigued by this idea because I do think Cooks could be available. Now, maybe if Houston takes a new quarterback at 2 or wherever they end up taking one, maybe that helps convince Cooks that, okay, I will stick around. But clearly he was very upset by the way the situation went down in terms of almost getting dealt to Dallas and that not working out. The real problem at its core here for the Jones boys and their precious pie is the money. The $18 million salary that Cooks is owed this upcoming year, Dallas didn't want to pay Amari $20. I don't think Cooks is better than Amari Cooper is at this point. Houston saves money. If Cooks wants a new deal and the Cowboys can make something work, then I think there's interest there from both sides. He'd be a good fit for what the Cowboys need right now. But I wonder if the money would be a self-imposed problem for Dallas. What do you guys think? Do you want to trade for Brandin Cooks? Head down to the pinned comment, especially if the ad break comes here on YouTube. Ignore it. Allow it to play. Head to the pinned comment. Type in Y for yes, N for no. From Mark, both Dak and Jalen can throw the ball, but neither's arm to me is elite. I'd agree. What separates Jalen is his legs. Very scary, mobile quarterback. Dak can run, but he's no Jalen. I agree Hurts has better mobility. I don't think anyone would disagree there. I still think, especially the pre-snap processing from Prescott is better than Hurts. I also find it weird, and this is not directed at you, Mark, but others, of the anti-Dak arguments of, well, he needs playmakers around him, as the Eagles have, I still think, the best offensive line in the NFL, a great tight end in Goddard, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, even Quez Watkins, a nice ground game. Hurts, of course, helps that. I feel like there's some similar overlap from those pros and cons. The difference is the Eagles, unlike Dallas, are a bit more willing to go spend some money come free agency time. From Chris B, speaking of that, exactly, good call there, Jeremy. Jones's free agency self-imposed approach, it's crazy. Say we sign Daron Payne, trade for give them both 5-year contracts. By the time year 4 or 5 comes on both contracts, if you're rebuilding, you can afford to have a down year. The issue is Dallas doesn't want to ever have a rebuilding phase. They always want to be above average. They want to have that worst case, they finish 8 wins, 9 wins, which is what they've been every with a healthy Dak or healthy Romo. They've always been at least around that 500 mark. I don't want to settle for that. I agree with you. I would be aggressive because rosters change drastically in a 3 to 4 to 5 year time frame. Look at what the Chiefs looked like the last time they won a Super Bowl. It's a drastically different football team, minus the few key pieces you're always going to have and build around. So I would be more aggressive. If the takeaway from the Joneses is, as they've said, we don't want to be as aggressive and all in for 1 year as Philadelphia was, then your owners don't know ball, and that scares me. Jay Buzz, is Mahomes to get to 8 rings to be the GOAT? Kind of like the Tiger Jack Nicklaus debate. Like, Mahomes might not catch Brady in rings, but it's also kind of a team stat. From a dominance perspective, the things he does is damn impressive. So check in with me again in like 5 years. I think it's too early to have that whole conversation with Mahomes, frankly. Now, if you want Cowboys draft coverage and free agency, if they do anything, we'll keep you covered. Hit that sub button. It is free here on the Cowboys Report every single day, sometimes multiple times. But hit that sub button right now. From TKG, Tom's having the time of his life right now. We love it. We had a lot of fun trolling producer Jeremy. You guys have made it funny. I appreciate that. From Nick, any linebackers in free agency that would be a great fit? I mean, you could explore it. I honestly think my preferred option would be like, let's just bring back Leighton Vander Esch, right? If you want to spend big at linebacker, I think a David Long would be a really good option. Deion Jones will be a free agent, but I didn't love the way he's played as of late. I wouldn't want to break the bank on a linebacker. It's not the route I'd like to go about doing business. So if there's a cheap option out there for you, maybe an Alex Anzalone as like your LVE replacement, I probably just lean towards that route, like just keeping LVE. Maybe draft someone again, or let Damone Clark and Jabril Cox have their chance. From Mark, why is Skeletor being such a lower male extremity, he means butt, towards Coach J? Grow up. I think he can be both. Growing up to put him in the ring. I agree. Put him in the ring. It's not that hard. It's long overdue, and it's ridiculous that he's not in there. Guard and wide receiver, our offense is set. Put a decent cornerback and DT in there for defense. In my perfect offseason plan, which is available on the channel, I took care of that. And I did it all within the salary cap confines. It is possible, Jerry. From Yeecaw, could Belichick be using the UFOs to spy on other teams? If the Patriots were still in the playoffs, we would have all made that joke, and you know what? It probably would have been true. Great super chat, Yeecaw. Thank you. Minty Fresh, Cowboys trade for Marshon Lattimore. Not going to happen. Fun idea. Let's go poach the Saints' good players because they've got salary cap issues. I like the way you're thinking. The salary cap is very manipulable if you know exactly what you're doing. The Saints' standpoint, there's no reason to trade away Marshon. Here's how it breaks down. You cut him pre-June 1st, you lose $25.5 million. $20.5 million. So you're paying Marshon Lattimore $43 million to not be on your football team. Not going to happen. You save $0 post-June 1st. You lose $6 million if you trade him right now. So that doesn't make any sense. You trade him after June 1st if you want, but you're not helping your team this year. Young, talented corner, Saints are not going to trade Marshon Lattimore because they still think they are a playoff contender. I'm not sure I agree with it, but that's their mindset. Now, let's keep it realistic-ish here. So, no Mahomes, no Donald, etc. Name a player who you want the Dallas Cowboys to trade for. Let me know in the comment section. From Mark, JJ's pride is the biggest. You think Noah and Dax are, and that Washington, Tolbert, Noah, we're going to have to replace an Amari clown show. I mean, it's just talent in general, right? You're banking on a receiver who has never been good in Washington, outside of maybe one halfway decent year. Tolbert didn't help them. Like we all said, you didn't replace Amari properly. You didn't even replace Cedric Wilson properly. And it was surprised Pikachu face. We're like, hey, you got worse on offense. And the Cowboys were surprised they played worse on offense. It didn't make sense to me. It was dumb. Dumb roster management. Chris B., being around 500 every year is not the way to go. Go all in for once, Jerry. See what happens. If it fails, maybe you have a top 5 pick. And don't trade away your first-round picks. You don't have to go full Rams. You don't have to go all in if you are Dallas. You don't have to go full Rams. I'm asking to be a little bit aggressive. That's all I'm asking for. And I think that's reasonable to ask. Do a little bit of dabbling in free agency. You don't have to trade away all your first-round picks. That's fine, but they have not been nearly aggressive enough to make it worthwhile. The Turnover Boys by Dak. It's funny. If Dallas should assign a quarterback 2 in free agency, who could we target? Well, that's in free agency, so not Cooper Rush. If Cooper Rush leaves, Jeremy, I wouldn't mind a Taylor Heineke. Kind of fits a similar-ish mold. I think a bit more like highs and lows than Cooper Rush brought you. Although I don't know if you were doing it or if it was Patrick who did it. The leader in turnover play rate in the NFL was actually Cooper Rush and then Heineke. Maybe you want to bring back Mike White, Cowboys legend. If Carson Wentz gets cut, I bet they look at that option. I really do. From Mark, I think Skeletor's from the UFOs. Go Cowboys. I mean, he looks weird these days. From Rachel Sinclair, is there any quarterback I think the Cowboys might draft this year? Your opinion, please. It depends on when they try to take one. I don't love this quarterback class. I'm going to assume that Levis, Richardson, of course, Stroud and Young are off the board, so you're not going to take one early. I'm fine with Hendon Hooker in round 4. I am, even with the offensive adjustments you have to make, because that's a Mickey Mouse offense at Tennessee, because Mickey Mouse offense is working college. Come, round 6, round 7, Max Duggan, Stetson Bennett. I like Jake Haener a decent amount. Just, keep it within reason here. Since 2011, your quarterbacks you found on day 3, Dak and a very unimpressive. It's Dak and Cousins who are starters. So upside is worth it. Just know you're probably going to get a backup. That's what you're hoping for. And come round 7, it's probably going to be a pretty bad player. From Joey Domino, will Jerry learn from the Eagles and Chiefs and sign or trade for good players? No. He said he wasn't going to. He thinks the Eagles went all in, which they objectively did not. They have 2 first-round picks this year. They did not go all in and risk everything for 1 year. That's just not how it operates. I hope the lesson learned is, maybe we should try to surround our quarterback with playmakers like smart teams do and be a little bit aggressive. I think their lesson learned will be the Bills were aggressive. It didn't pay off for them. Why should we be aggressive? That's my concern. Now, who wins the NFC East this upcoming year? Remember, there is the curse. No one, for some strange reason, can repeat the division. So who wins it? WAS for the Commanders, NYG for the G-Men, PHI for the Eagles, DAL for the Dallas Cowboys. Busch Gardens fandom. How about Kadarius Toney? Might be a good punt returner. Yeah, I doubt the Chiefs are going to move him, though. Because, again, that team got aggressive to help their receiving core. Dallas signed T.Y. Hilton in January. Brokov. Tag and trade Tony Pollard and 3 seconds for Stephon Diggs. Who says no? Bills do. They don't benefit very much salary cap-wise from moving on from Diggs. The money does not really work out because they just paid him. He's also, like the Bills, if you talk to Bills fans, like, we need another receiver. The Bills trading away Stephon Diggs would be like the Cowboys trading Amari Cooper, except they didn't have CeeDee Lamb in the wings, which would be really bad for Buffalo. Gabe Davis, not good this year. He was not good. Ignatius Pennyfeather the 9th. Remember me when we passed on Asante Samuel? Me too. I love Asante Samuel. They were never going to take him. Doesn't fit their measurables. It was not going to be a thing they did. They wanted Boss Man Fat. Also doesn't really fit their measurables, and that was a horrible, horrible mistake. Chris B., not all in, but sign a few players in free agency, please. I agree. I know everyone wants Daron Payne. If you sign like a Dalvin Tomlinson instead, I'll be over the moon. Be your biggest free agency signing since Brandon Carr. That's Dalvin Tomlinson we're talking about here. Chris B. says next year's class is when we should take one. If you want to take one early next year, if by somehow you end up with that top 5 pick, let's ride. Let's take Caleb Williams-Drake, man. I think both those guys are going to be really good. We'll see about Mullet Boy Quinn Ewers. I'm not quite sold on that one yet. But I think guys like even like a day 3 gamble pick of like a Bo Nix, a Spencer Rattler of like maybe something develops, or they're just like Logan Thomas again. That's fine. I don't love the high-end upside of this quarterback class. I think there's some good backups available, guys with backup traits, but I think your higher-end guys, it's a thin class beyond those top 2 to 4, depending on how you feel about Levis and Richardson. If we did not get to your question, blame producer Jeremy. Hit me up on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney because my DMs are open for you guys to respond.